Hello, you're welcome back. And in the previous video, I looked at the types of literature. Specifically, I spoke about the prose type of literature. And I promised that in the next video, I was going to look at drama. So today, we are going to take a little journey about the meaning of drama. We will try to identify some elements of drama. Then we'll conclude today's video by looking at the types of drama. When we say drama, what does it mean? Now, drama is a piece of writing that is meant to be performed on stage. A piece of writing that is meant to be performed on stage. Two key or critical words that you need to note in my definition of drama are meant and performed or and stage. Now, meant here simply means that the primary purpose of drama is for it to be performed on stage. Drama is written to be performed. And basically, today we have different stages where drama is performed. We have theater, we have movie houses, and others. But basically, the origin of drama, it is written and performed. Now, today we have dramatic books that have been written but have never been performed before, but they are still classified as drama. Now, the fact that a book has been written but has never been performed before does not disqualify it from being referred to as drama. Once it has been written with the intention of it being performed, it is drama. Again, just like I did under prose, there are certain elements that will help you to identify what drama is or whether a book should be classified or called drama. Now, these elements, you have to pay so much attention to them because if you pick a prose work or if you pick a dramatic work, they are all in the form of a book, they are all in the form of a novel. Some of them have the same sizes. So if you don't look out for the unique elements or characteristics or features, then it becomes difficult to distinguish between a prose and a drama. So as a way of recap, I mentioned under prose work that a prose is written in paragraphs and chapters. The writer of a prose is called an author or novelist. The language of prose, which is the ordinary language of writing, is called prosaic work. Now, in drama, drama is written in acts and scenes. Acts being the major divisions and the scenes being the minor divisions. So you can pick a work of drama and depending on the size, the entire work of drama will be in just one act, but several scenes. Now, the scenes are the various settings. So there could be one scene as in a church, then the scene could move to maybe a marketplace, to maybe a palace or a religious place of worship. These are scenes, various settings that the drama moves to from one place to another. Then the acts are the major divisions. Now, if you are familiar with movies, watching movies, then some movies are in part one, part two, part three, or season one, season two, season three. Now, if you pick a season, you get a lot different episodes. In this way, we can describe the seasons as the major divisions, acts, then the episodes as the minor divisions. That's the scenes. Now, another key element of drama is the language of drama is called dramatic language. Don't forget, I earlier mentioned that the language of prose is prosaic. The language of drama is dramatic language. Again, drama is written by a playwright or a dramatist. A playwright or a dramatist. That is how we call someone who writes drama. I think one of the most popular and well celebrated dramatists or playwrights you can think of is William Shakespeare, who has written, if my memory serves me right, 38 drama, and that's quite a number. I think he was specialized in writing comedies, that's romantic comedy and dark comedies. These are terms that, as time goes on, I will explain all of them into details for you to understand. He also wrote histories, King Charles the First, King Charles the Second, King Lear, and the rest. So William Shakespeare is or was a celebrated dramatist. Now let's look at some elements of drama. Also, I mentioned earlier under the discussion on prose that when we get to drama, I will mention some unique elements that are limited to drama. Then later I will look at the combined elements. So even though I have quite a number listed here, one of the first ones I want to talk about is conflict. A work of drama is based on conflict. Basically, you can talk about a form of disagreement that happens in the drama. It is the conflict that propels the plot. Now, there are different types of conflict in drama. We have individual conflict. First of all, we have the conflict being subcategorized into two broad categories: internal conflict and external conflict. Internal conflict is individual, when the conflict happens within a character. Now, this is when a character becomes confused as to what kind of decision to make or to take. The character is found in a situation where he or she will have to make a decision and gets confused about what to do. That is where we talk about the internal conflict. Sorry for that little break. Then we have external conflict. That is when the disagreement or the confusion happens between characters or others. Aside internal and external conflict, you can categorize conflict as individual conflict. That's when it happens between or within the individual alone. Individual against individual. That's when it happens between two different people in a story. Individual against a society. That is when one person stands against an entire society in a story. Society against society. That is when a particular society rises against another society, or a particular system rises against another system in a story. Now, another feature that I want to talk about is stage. Drama always needs stage, since the original purpose of drama is for it to be performed. It has to be performed on stage. And a stage basically is a raised platform where characters or where actors and actresses stand to perform. We have dialogue. Drama always has dialogue. There are times where you encounter monologue. So, dialogue is a conversation or an interaction between two or more people, where you see, if you are reading the drama in a book, you see the names of the characters written, and whatever the character will say or have said will be written against the name. That is what we call dialogue. There are times when we have monologue, where a particular character comes on stage and speaks alone or talks alone. We also have other similar instances that one is called soliloquy. We have aside. So monologue, soliloquy, aside are key terms that I will explain for you to understand better later. Now, drama should always have a conversation, which I call the dialogue, and the names of the character, what the characters will say will be there. We should always have conflict. That disagreement propels the plot. You should always have a stage. and art and scenes. There are other features like I have here characterization, plot, theme, subject matter, and these are also similar to prose. So I'll be explaining these ones later. Now, let's look at the types of drama. Basically, we have three types of drama. We have comedy, we have tragedy, we have tragicomedy. Now, comedy is a type of drama that ends on a happy note. So when you read the book or when you watch the act on stage, it ends on a happy note where everybody becomes happy. So the exposition, that's the beginning of the drama, the rising action, when emotions are rising, conflict is becoming intense, the climax, which represents the highest point of suspense, the anticlimax or what we call falling action, which where there are attempts to resolve the conflict, then the resolution or the denouement, which happens at the end where conflicts are resolved. That end part, that resolution part or denouement part, usually ends on a happy note and everybody's happy. The direct opposite of comedy is tragedy. With tragedy, what happens is that it ends on a very sad note. Either your main character is killed, or a main character loses a case, or something bad happens to the main character, and audience becomes sad. Audience get emotional. Then we call it a tragedy or a tragic story. Then the final one that I want to draw attention to is tragicomedy. Now, when we say tragicomedy, it's a combination of tragedy and comedy. So it starts on a sad note, progresses, then ends on a happy note. In the 21st century, we are having comedy, tragedy, which is direct opposite. So that one starts on a happy note and ends on a sad note. Now, this brings us to the end of today's lesson. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section and I'll respond to it. In our next lesson, I'll be looking at some dramatic themes. There are some, like I mentioned, soliloquy, I mentioned monologue, I mentioned aside. There are some key themes that are related to drama that we use when we are talking about that type of literature called drama. So I'll be looking at them in our next episode. Thank you. Goodbye.